In today's video, I'm giving you the ultimate guide to navigating the holidays mindfully. Let's get right into it. Okay, so we're going to be covering some big topics in today's video, and it's all about mindfulness when it comes to the holidays and holiday gatherings. They are some big topics that have kind of like mini topics underneath them, so feel free to put me in the background. I'm going to be going through each of the big topics, which there are 4 of them, and then little things that are kind of associated with those 4 topics. I also have some stuff to talk about when it comes to solo holidays, so don't you worry if you are, going solo this holiday season. That's absolutely fine, but yeah, let's get into these things because it's a lot. I promise to be as succinct as possible. And of course, I have my phone here so that I do not forget anything. I want to get everything to you. So the first big topic is mindful shopping. Of course, we're heading into the time of year where we're going to be doing a lot of shopping. We're going to be doing a lot of gifting, and I encourage you to be as mindful as possible here. It is so easy to slip into an area where we're just going absolutely bonkers when it comes to shopping and gifting. So this is my reminder to you. If you've started shopping, this will be a good kind of way to ground you. But if you haven't started shopping, this is going to be a great way for you to get started in a mindful way. So the first thing that I want to talk about with mindful shopping is guilty gift giving. This is something that I have experienced with Ian because he is a big guilty gift giver. He feels like if he's been gifted something from someone even like 5 years ago, he feels the need that he needs to buy a gift for that person, and then our list of people that we need to gift for ends up becoming ginormous because there are so many people he feels guilty of not getting a gift for, so he feels like he needs to get a gift for them. Not only does that make our list super long and we have to think of so many gifts to gift people, random people he probably doesn't even really talk to anymore, but that blows our budget completely out the window, so it's not really a sensible thing. And I just have to reiterate that if you are giving gifts to people, I think you should really think hard on who you actually want to gift. Who are people in your life that are really important to you and you feel like you really want to gift them, as opposed to they gave me a gift so I must give them a gift in return. You are not obligated to kind of temper the feelings and emotions of other people. If they chose to give you a gift and you're not necessarily close to them, or they just did it because for whatever reason they wanted to do it and you don't really feel like you want to or really need to gift that other person, you don't have to. So make your list of people that you're going to be gifting and then really go through each person and make sure that these gifts that you are gifting to people, or these gift recipients, are people that you really want to gift. It's going to take a while. It's going to be harder than the way that I'm saying it, because you have to kind of unlearn, in a way, of all of that kind of guilt trip and like, why are you gifting people to begin with kind of emotions and feelings. But really sit with it, take your time with it, and kind of channel what you are truly feeling in order for you to kind of cut back on some of the gifts that you are planning on gifting, but you know deep down you don't really need to do that. And try to look at it from a place of, is this a guilt gift or is this a genuine gift, if that makes sense. Okay, the next thing about mindful gifting, shopping addictions. Somebody actually posted a comment on one of my videos recently saying that they feel like they're in this weird generation where we are just trained to mindlessly spend and mindlessly shop, and that person couldn't be more correct. I feel like we are a generation of shopping addicts, and I think it's because it's very accessible for us to shop, and we're being fed a lot of content that encourages us to shop for little things, single-use things, blah blah blah. So there's a shopping addiction kind of problem that we're having, and if you are struggling with that, I'm not saying that we are all struggling with that, and I'm not saying only people in our generation are struggling with that, but if you resonate with anything that I just said, I also reiterate and encourage you to take a scale back and be more mindful when it comes to hitting the checkout, whether you're online shopping or when you're out and about and kind of browsing through stores and you feel the need to just pick up something because you're in the store. This is something that I have had to combat a lot. Not so much recently, I'm starting to get better with it nowadays, but in the past, I was really, really bad about this. I would spend weekends just going to stores and browsing around aisles because it was just something to do, and I didn't want to leave the place without something in my hand, so I would pick up something even if it was ridiculous, even if I knew that it wasn't something that I needed, just to say that I got something and I left the place with something. So if you're struggling with that, really take a step back once again and think about, is this something that I need? Is this something that the other person needs, the gift recipient? And it's okay for you to pick up things if you're like walking through the aisles or if you're shopping online and you add a bunch of things to your cart. That's absolutely fine for you to end up near the checkout area with a lot of things, but before you actually check out, take a little inventory check and see, do I need this? What is this going to be used for? Am I going to be using this for a while? Is this going to be something that I use long term? All of these kinds of mindful questions. And I guarantee if you have a shopping addiction, a lot of those things that you have in your cart are going to be removed. And it's a good feeling. It helps you with your budget. It also helps with not buying things and being wasteful if they are things that you don't need and things like that. And in that same realm, I do also want to mention sustainability and longevity and thoughtful gift giving. It doesn't necessarily need to be a sustainable gift if you are an eco-conscious person. That's great, and I think all points to you if you are looking for something that's eco-conscious, sustainable, things like that. I try to do that myself, but that's not what I mean. I mean it more in terms of longevity and that you're getting a quality gift that the recipient is going to use and is going to continuously use and make a lot of use out of it, essentially. It's not going to be a single use item. It's not going to be an item that they kind of have and they're like, ooh, shiny and cool and fun on Christmas Day, and then they kind of throw it to the side. Think about something that the person will actually want to use, actually will use, and will use for an extended period of time. That is what makes it sustainable, because they're not just trashing it. That makes it obviously a more longevity based kind of item. And it's thoughtful because you're thinking about what that person actually likes. And chances are, if you give a gift to someone that they are going to be using for an extended period of time, that person's going to appreciate that you thought that extra mile, you went that extra mile to get them something that is impactful in some sort of way. Okay, so that is mindful shopping. Now let's get to mindful eating. And I just want to do a little trigger warning here in case this section is harmful to some people who have negative associations with eating and food and holidays. I am going to be touching on that quite a lot here. So feel free to skip, but if you are comfortable hearing about it, I do want to first start off by saying to show yourself some grace. I know a lot of people who struggle with eating and food, especially during the holidays, they feel like they need to guilt trip themselves constantly whenever they're eating something, if they're eating a little bit more than they usually are, or if they're eating things that they don't usually eat on the day-to-day. Show yourself the kindness that you would show someone else. Show yourself the kindness that you deserve. This is just a tiny, tiny little moment throughout the entire year that only happens once a year. Be kind to yourself. You don't need to, as tempting, unfortunately that's the wrong word, I don't know if that's the right word, but as tempting as it may be to guilt trip yourself during this time of year, you don't have to. You can have a good time, you can enjoy yourself, and you can eat in whatever quantities that you want to, because this is just a tiny, tiny moment throughout the entire year, and I promise you, you'll get back into the swing of things right after the holidays. We all do. We all eventually do. If it takes longer for some people than it does for others, it's okay. And beating yourself up about it is not going to help. It's actually probably better if you show yourself some more grace so that afterwards, you'll get right back into the swing of things a lot easier without having that kind of weird stage of feeling really terrible about yourself. In that same realm, enjoy what you enjoy. Once again, this is a very, very tiny moment throughout the entire year where you're going to consume foods that you don't usually consume. And at the time, like when you're in it, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I never eat this stuff. What am I doing? Why am I eating this? But after the fact, if you think about it, of course you don't eat these things on the usual. These are holiday foods. Of course, you only eat them during the holidays. So you might as well enjoy it while you can during the holidays, as you're not going to get it for the remainder of the year, more than likely. So just enjoy what you want to enjoy. And on the opposite realm of things, it's okay for you to show restraint. There are going to be a lot of conversations about people telling you, eat it, it's fine, it's just the holidays. I just talked about that. But at the same time, if you feel like you want to not eat that much, and especially if you have health issues, it's okay for you to show restraint. And if you need to set a boundary and express that to other people that are around you during the holiday table, that's absolutely fine as well. I actually had some health issues last year, and so our holidays, our meals had to be prepared by me only, and I had to pack Tupperware and blah blah blah, and had to like travel around with our foods and stuff because of particular health issues. I'm also vegan, so I completely understand that feeling, that weird feeling of like, oh my gosh, they have their Tupperware and they brought it here, it's kind of weird. But you know, you gotta do what you have to do for yourself, and if that means showing restraint in some ways, and you've got to do what you got to do, or if that just feels good to you in that moment, then do that. Another thing when it comes to restraint, I don't think it's restraint, but you can move your body if you want to move your body. Now, I know most people don't want to, and that's 110% fine as well. But if you do want to move your body, if you do want to exercise during the holiday times, or if you want to go out for a walk, or if you feel like you just want to move your body after a large meal, that's okay. You don't have to feel bad about wanting to move your body if that's what feels right to you. There will be people who are judgmental. There are always judgmental people during the holiday times, whether they are doing it intentionally or not. But the most important thing to take away here is that you need to do what's best for you. And if you are feeling a type of way and you feel inclined to move your body or not, do what makes you most happy, even if it's not necessarily the norm of what people do during the holidays. You can switch it up, you can make your own traditions, you can make your new normals, and that's absolutely fine. And nobody should question you on that, and that's when boundary setting comes in, and that's a whole other conversation, but you can set up your boundaries if you need to do that. Okay, section number 3 is mindful presence at events. So of course this whole video is mostly about being at events, at gatherings and stuff like that. And so how do we be mindful when there are so many other people around you that are kind of influencing the way that you are probably going to outwardly respond, react, or act in front of them? Did that sentence make sense? I think you know what I mean. Like I was saying in the mindful eating part, boundary setting. Boundary setting is so important. You're going to be seeing people that you don't typically see throughout the year, maybe. Or you're going to be seeing people that bring up tough conversations, or it's just something about the holidays where people feel inclined to talk about tricky topics. I don't know why this happens, but it happens. I guess it's because everybody's gathered and everybody's got their own opinions and stuff like that. But I will just say, before you head over to these events, if you can, make a mental note of the boundaries that you'd like to set in place. What topics are off the table? We are not discussing them at the holiday event, at the holiday gathering. Establish what those are, because you're going to have to set them. Unfortunately, that's just the reality for most of us, but you're going to have to set them, and you're going to have to stay firm on them if they get crossed when you're at your holiday gatherings. More than likely it's going to happen, unfortunately. When you do come across a situation where you have to stand firm on them, you can take 2 routes. You can be on the more subtle route, or you can be a little bit more aggressive, depending on what's most comfortable for you. But you can always do it in a respectful way, or you can do it in a way that doesn't cause much more of a confrontation. And I talk about this in an entire blog post, so I'll link the blog post in the description box. It's basically a reiteration of a lot of things that I'm talking about in this video, but I get into the nitty-gritty when it comes to boundary setting and how you can stand firm on that. So I'll link it down below if you're interested. But boundary setting, super important this time of year. The next thing is protecting your peace. This is also related to the boundary setting, and once again, there's more information in the blog post, but just a reminder to protect your peace. At the end of the day, you are an individual that is coming into a situation where there are a lot of other individuals, and you are the only person that's going to have control of yourself and the way that you react, the way that you respond, and the way that you feel about X, Y, and Z. So make sure that you're protecting your own peace. It's up to you to do that. And I know that sounds like a lot of responsibility and obligation, but at the end of the day, we are looking out for ourselves, and I think that adds a little bit more of self-worth onto us, I think that's an important thing. I think that's a valuable thing. So continue to practice that because it will only boost your confidence in the long run. Another thing that I had under this list is navigating tough conversations. Once again, check out the blog post. I have a bunch of information and ideas for you to navigate tough conversations. And then the last thing that I have is going solo during the holidays. Maybe none of this is going to occur because you are not going to a holiday gathering or you're not going to a holiday event, you're not traveling, you're basically staying solo for the holidays. And a lot of people feel a type of way when they are going solo for the holidays. 100% understandable. Generally speaking, a lot of us associate the holidays with gatherings and celebrations, and that's not necessarily the case for everyone. So if you are going solo and you're trying to navigate the holidays while being solo, I would just try to emphasize what you love about the holidays. What are some of the really, really basic innate things that you love about the holidays? Maybe it's the music, maybe it's just the general vibe in the air, maybe it's the snow, maybe it's the decorations, whatever it may be. Try to make a mental note of what are the most basic things that you love about the holidays, and then try to think of ideas on what you can do that can incorporate that while being solo. So for example, if you love the decorations, you can definitely have a solo night where you're DIYing some holiday decorations and then you put it on your tree, and you've made a new tradition for yourself where you make DIY decorations for your tree every single year. I think that's a fantastic idea. If you love the overall vibe, maybe head out and explore your local town and see if they've decorated. Maybe stop at a coffee shop and get yourself a hot cocoa. Maybe go into a little gift shop and look at the cute little things that they have displayed. Things like that. You can find a way to make it solo and make it fun and not necessarily feel like you have to stay inside and kind of be woe is me because you're going solo this holiday season. You can make it fun for yourself and you can make new traditions for yourself, and it can actually end up being a fantastic and fun time that honestly sounds like a dream. I'm a big introvert, so I would love to do holidays solo, and we try to do that with just Ian and I for a lot of our holiday things. Also, if you are going solo and you do want somebody to chat with, you can always DM me on Instagram or Threads or wherever you want to and chat with me. I am always available. Like I said, I love going solo when it comes to these kinds of things, so I am available to chat with if you need someone to chat with. Okay, and then the last section I want to talk about is seasonal depression. So I know a lot of people have seasonal depression, but if you do not know what seasonal depression is, it's essentially what what it says. I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of people feel very down during the winter months, particularly because the sun sets sooner, so it gets darker sooner, and things just feel dark and dreary and sad. It's also the whole solo holiday thing. If you do feel the seasonal depression, if you do feel a type of way during this type of year that isn't necessarily happy and joyful and cheerful, I am here for you, and I hope you're doing okay right now. If you need support, again, feel free to DM me, but some ways that you can kind of combat seasonal depression. One big example when it comes to the sun setting earlier, try to make your space a vibe, like a really, really fun, cozy vibe. What I like to do is take off all of the overhead lights. Overhead lights can be very harsh, especially if you have to turn them on earlier now. And get yourself some lamps. Get yourself some cute lamps. You can find lamps of all sorts. You can find them on IKEA. You can find them at Target. You can find them online. Whatever floats your boat. But invest in some really cute little lamps. I don't think they're too expensive depending on where you look, especially IKEA. They're very cheap there. You can even get candle warmers. Those have little lamps on them as well. But turn all of those on instead. Turn on your holiday decor if you have holiday decor. Just don't turn on the overhead lights because it can make it feel very like I'm in a cubicle kind of feeling, which is not the best. But if you have cute lamps and ambient lighting, that will make things feel a lot more vibey, a lot more cozy. And speaking of cozy, get into your cozy clothing. I am in my huge sweatshirt and I love this, and I have my little slippers and things like that. So once it hits sunset, I'm ready to go. The lamps are going on, the cozy outfit is on. I am trying to be as relaxed as possible, grab a book, make yourself a cup of coffee or a cocoa or something like that. Try to find ways to make it a little bit more positive, a little bit more cozy, and really lean into the cozy, because this is the one time of the year where you can really embrace that, and you can embrace it for a longer period of time as opposed to the summer where we're kind of like out and about and doing all sorts of outdoor type of stuff. So embrace the cozy, find things that you like in that cozy kind of vibe, whether that's reading, maybe you pick up a hobby during this time of year, such as painting. That's what I've been doing recently. Or listening to a podcast, listening to playlists, putting on your record player. There are so many little cozy things, and if you need ideas, if you need like exact ideas, I'm sure you can have a scroll over on any of my socials and you'll get some ideas. But yeah, just embrace the cozy, and I promise you it will make things significantly better. I know the days getting a little bit darker earlier also gives us the feeling of FOMO, and also doing the holidays solo gives us a bit of FOMO. I try my best to lean into the opposite side of what FOMO is. So FOMO is the fear of missing out, but I like to lean into the joy of missing out. I like to lean into what can I do with myself that is very enjoyable, and I can continue to develop a relationship with myself that is enjoyable, and just love solo time, enjoy individual time. It's the most special thing, and it's the most valuable thing when you can enjoy your own company. And if you can find ways to do that, especially during this time of year, this is only going to get easier for you year over year. It just takes practice, right? It just takes implementing some slow living practices in order to do that. So try doing that this year. And if it ends up becoming a fantastic experience, it's only going to get better from here. You can continue to experiment year over year, and it's going to be a really great thing for yourself. All right, friends, that was a lot of talking. I hope I didn't ramble. I hope I didn't say things that didn't make any sense. I hope this was helpful. Best of luck to you as we approach the holidays. Once again, if you're going solo, I am here for you, and if you need support, leave a comment down below. Find me on Instagram, find me on Threads, whatever it may be. I am definitely there to be your virtual buddy if you need one, or if you need some tips along the way if you're trying to embrace solo time a little bit more. I'm also here for support if you are navigating some tricky situations during holiday gatherings. Even if you're surrounded by people, it can be difficult. So I mean, that's a huge part of what I talked about in this video, and a huge part of the blog post that I talked about in this video. Once again, it's going to be linked down below. I hope it's helpful. Somebody already reached out and told me that it was immensely helpful, and we haven't even gotten to the holidays yet, so that was like a breath of fresh air to hear. I appreciate that person for saying that, and I hope it continues to help. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you in next week's video.